ladies and gentlemen, this is Jonathan Lee Iverson, also known as your Last Ringmaster. Remember, you can follow me on any of the social media platforms at Last Ringmaster. That's Jonathan Lee Iverson at Last Ringmaster. Now, the date was January 14th, 2017. The time was 10:10 p.m. We were summoned to a bar/restaurant in the American Airlines Arena. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the cast, crew, and staff of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. And in attendance was the chairman and CEO and many of his emissaries. And they were there to break the news to us that after 146 years, the greatest show on earth would end. Now, as you can imagine, something like that was a severe gut punch, because the fact of the matter is few gigs in show business were thought to be as secure. Yet, the very company that owned Ringling Brothers 3 years later, this year, let go over 90% of its employees. All of the shows that they produced throughout the world, and there are many, all went dark in an instant. Cirque du Soleil, one of the most prosperous live entertainment brands on the planet, is considering bankruptcy. What is the lesson? No one and nothing is too big to fail or thwart the will of change. We are not in control. Now, over the past few days, I've had exchanges with various individuals. I've been privileged enough to be invited to online conferences with other live entertainment professionals via Zoom. And as you can imagine, we've all been talking about the same thing. How do we move on? How do we recreate ourselves and our business in this brave new world? Many are lost. They are afraid and feel their identity, which is so fused to their vocation, has been shattered. Others, though anxious, have embraced the challenge of reinvention. Now, here's a reality check. There really is no other demographic more equipped for change as is the performing artist, particularly circus artists. By the very nature of our business, the unsteadiness of it, we live in a sphere, in a consciousness where we're braced for change, however unwelcome. So our spirits are relatively high. This message really goes out for you mere mortals. Many of you are lost and you're afraid, and that's understandable. But I say to you, fear not. You don't have to have all the answers. Sometimes the best you can do is go from one day to another. Sometimes the greatest achievement you can have throughout your day is to literally get out of your bed and put one foot in front of the other. If you are anxious, I want you to know this: be anxious for nothing. I get you have obligations and bills and yada, yada, yada. They were there before, they'll be there hereafter. I understand. I'm a husband and a father. When the show left me, when Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey left me, I was particularly anxious. I was convinced I needed a gig with immediacy, and it was the good counsel of some wonderful friends that really brought me back down to earth and shared with me what I'm sharing with you now. At this hour, balance is your best friend. You literally are permitted right now to veg out on a Netflix series. You are permitted to eat that pint of ice cream, to go on Facebook and have that argument and pass around memes. You're permitted to do that because your world has shifted dramatically. There's a reason why your surgeon advises you to take time to rest and medicate yourself following a procedure. Why? Because life-altering change, much like surgery, is invasive and traumatic. Believe it or not, many of those horror stories, post-op horror stories you hear about, have absolutely nothing to do with about the ability of the surgeon or the hospital, and everything to do with anxious patients who neglected to do as they were instructed to do. So I urge you to take this time as an opportunity to sit, to breathe, to reset, to be still, and understand you're not in control. The worst thing you can do for yourself right now is to be stiff-necked and to regale yourself of what you think the world should be at this moment. You're not in control. What I've done is I devised a system for myself that I want to share with you to help manage, change, and dry seasons. I abbreviated the word GRIT, G.R.I.T. And it goes like this. G, get active. Find your physical stimulus. That doesn't contradict what I said about relaxing and taking the time to just veg or what have you. In fact, remember, balance is key. So whether you jog, yoga, lift weights, whatever it is, get moving. If you are restricted by a disability, there are plenty of exercises, plenty of activities that are just as stimulating and with minimum to no physical demands at all. And there are even activities that engage you mentally and intellectually as well. R, reach out. Relationships make the world go round. Someone needs to hear from you, and I assure you, you need to hear from others. Don't be seduced by solitude. While it is necessary, it is very easy, especially now, to find yourself wallowing in your own thoughts and space. It does you no good. I, be intentional. Don't leave your day to chance. It doesn't matter how small or incidental the goal. Be intentional about it. It will help you reclaim your confidence one step at a time. T, be thankful. Praise will lift your spirits like nothing else will. Gratitude will clear your mind better than any prescription on the market. Thanksgiving literally brings you back to some pleasant realities. Everything may not be ideal, but you have it within your power to cultivate your own joy. Now, I'm from New York City, so I don't have a green thumb, but I do know that those who do are expert at this practice called pruning. And that practice of pruning is how they know when to cut away shrubs and overgrown branches to encourage fruitfulness and growth. I believe we're in a time such as this, where we're pruning and where we're being challenged to see our lives anew, and we will have to part ways with what's familiar, traits, things, habits, and even people, so that we may be fruitful and grow. You're going to get through this.